2 years to the day, the squad has taken down dastardly foes like Sayaka. Just Sayaka, actually. That's the whole point of this group. But I bet sometimes you're wondering who's truly the greatest, the strongest link in this conglomerate, this unlikely alliance known as the squad. Well, today, we find out not only who's the strongest link, but also who's the weakest link. On this day, Squad Anniversary Day, the start of Squad Anniversary Week, we're actually going to visit some of the other Brand Steel simulators because it's something I've been meaning to do for like a year and a half. But today we're doing it. Oh yes. And we're gonna start with the weakest link. I think we're also gonna do Total Drama Island, and I think we might do either Survivor or Big Brother. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet, but I know we're gonna do this one. And if you don't know what the weakest link is, in this year of the Ascent Toon Link Dave and your United States Aviator, good day, good people. This is how it goes. It's basically a game of trivia, and we ate the squad during this reunion gonna celebrate in friendly competition. But I will say, when I tested this out, they voted me out when I was the strongest link, and I was like, oh, this is not just a simulation. Oh, we can show questions? I didn't know that was an option. Oh. Well, I'm learning more things. I didn't know this was a thing. We'll put that on. You guys can answer too in the comments. Hide answers on. Click. Yes. Yes. Click. On hover. Ooh. Alright, we'll play around with it. So this is how it works. I got distracted. There will be a round of questions, and to earn cash, you have to answer questions correctly, and they'll go in order. Like, let's say Celeste starts, then it's Jack, then Junko, then Kokichi, then Maki, then Nekomar, then Pennyworth, then me. Then it rolls back to Celeste. And to earn money, you have to answer questions in order. You have to keep answering correct questions and earn like a streak of money. If you get it incorrect, you go all the way back down to 0. And that is how this goes. But what happens if you get one incorrect? You can also bank before the question is asked, and that money will be put into a bank. You'll see if you don't know what the weakest link is. It'll be a fun time. But for right now, let's just hop right into it. Let's see who will be the strongest and the weakest links. We'll explain as we go on. I've actually seen the weakest link. It's one of it's an older game show. I don't think it comes on anymore. Back in my day, it was one of my favorites, but on the Game Show Network. Let's see just who will be the strongest and weakest links. Let's proceed. And we start with Celeste, lo and behold. And Celeste is up first. The lowest possible temperature, 0 Kelvin, is commonly known as what? Do you know the answer? We'll show the answer. It's absolute 0. She gets it correct. Fantastic. And see, that bumps up to 2,500, and there's only a certain amount of time per round. Jack is up next. In 2007, the Moldy Peaches hit it big after its ballad "Anyone Else But You" was featured in what film? I have no idea, and neither did Jack. It was Juno. Oh, maybe I could have known that. I could have guessed that. Junko's next. Someone who repeatedly tries to revive interest in a hopeless issue is said to be beating a what? And that is incorrect, but I believe that's a dead horse. It is. I would have gotten that. Junko, you gotta do better than that. Kokichi. What musician in 1989 wrote the bestseller Tales from Margaritaville? He answers correctly. Well, I don't know, but it was Jimmy Buffett. Maki's up next, and she banks, and that earns the cashola in the bank. She's the only one who's banked. What type of jewelry appropriately gets its name from the French for long needle? She answers incorrectly. It is the brooch. Oh, wouldn't have known. Nekomaru is up, gets this correct. He knows that, as those who observe it well know, Lent traditionally Lent traditionally lasts how long? He answers correctly. It's 40 days, 40 nights. Pennyworth, up next, does not bank and also answers incorrectly. Patients who need to, who have to elect malar augmentation surgery, wish to increase the size of what? It's the malar, the malar, it's a breast? Cheeks! I would have also got it wrong. It's okay, Pennyworth. But I answered this incorrectly, and I will do so. Before creating his successful TV series, The West Wing, Aaron Sorkin wrote what famous line in film? Clearly, I don't actually know, but I'm going to guess and say, I am your father. You can't handle the truth. Well, good on that, man. Celeste answers this correctly. On airplanes, a person's ears pop because of the air moving through what part of the body? The ear. How did you know that? Celeste? Okay. Jack is up. She gets this correct. You guys can now read the questions for yourself. I will hover over the answers. Vaseline. I'll read some of them. I'll read the ones that pertain to me. As Junko Banks, what is a bodega? Oh no, it's the, oh, I know what this is. It's a small grocery store. I was like, it's some sort of shopping something. And then Kokichi answers this incorrectly. A book about fashion and gay culture, Don We Now Are Gay Apparel. Takes its title from which Christmas carol? Fa la 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 la, deck the halls. Yeah, Kokichi, what are you doing? I should have gotten that question. Maki answers incorrectly. We'll go ahead. Nakamaru's up next. He also answers incorrectly. The answer was Walmart. Who knew? Pennyworth is up next. He answers correctly. Valentine's Day. I am next, and I answer this incorrectly, but of course I know. When starting a car, the jumper cables are usually attached to what part of the vehicle? It's the battery, of course. Who doesn't know that? Why did I answer that incorrectly? AV, please. Celeste answers this incorrectly. Jack is up next, also answers incorrectly. I'm sorry, answers correctly. She is brilliant. She is absolutely brilliant. Junko's up next. At the State of the Union address, who usually sits with the vice president right behind the president? She answers that incorrectly. Well, let me tell you, it's the Speaker of the House. Kokichi answers correctly. We're not banking a lot of money, which is really bad. He answers this correctly though. It was a rainbow, the phenomenon of refraction and reflection through light, passing through water droplets. Maki is up next. And she doesn't bank. No, she does bank. Thank goodness. I was like, did she not bank? We earned 4,500 that round. She even answered the last question correctly. Muscle spasms. We did pretty terrible, I won't lie. As a group, as a cohesive unit, we sucked. But that's that. That's all. That's the past. Now comes to the good part. We vote on the weakest link. In fact, maybe we should do a majority vote for this. Because everyone votes on who they think did the worst. And that person is declared the weakest link. And they gotta go goodbye. Now, before everything goes, they won't know, but we will get to see who the strongest link and the weakest link from this round were. So who would you vote for this round? Who do you think did the worst this round? Were you distracted by the questions? You gotta see who answered right a lot, who answered wrong a lot. Go ahead. Go on. Who do you think would be the weakest link? I personally believe, without scrolling up, I think Pennyworth might have been the weakest link. As the strongest link, I think it might have been Maki. But let's find out, let's proceed, and let's see how the votes went. According to the statistics, actually, Nekamaru is the strongest link. The weakest link was Junko. But will the votes pick up on the facts? Let's see who voted for who. Celeste voted for Maki. Jack voted for Junko. Junko, instead, the alteration voted for Jack. It is so far 1 Jack, 1 Junko, 1 Maki. Kokichi also voted for Maki. Maki with 2 votes to her name. Uh-oh. Maki voted for Junko. It is now 2-2 and 1 for Jack. Nakamaru voted for Maki as well. Maki has 3 votes. Pennyworth also voted for Maki. Not even the weakest link. Maki has 4 votes. I voted for Jack. And that is a lot of it. It is 4, 4, and 2. Unfortunately, it seems that Maki is the weakest link. Goodbye. toodaloo too. Now, that was that. That was this. We can, in fact, can we turn show questions off now? Yes, we'll turn that back on for the final round, because that's when I'm more interested about it. Now that you understand how this goes, you can see what would have gone on with the questions as well. We can proceed. It is time for round 2. We'll have another vote at the end of this round. But here are our remaining 7. Who will be the strongest link of the squad? It could be me. In my one simulation of it, it was not me. But we'll proceed. And we will see that the strongest link from last round, the true strongest link from last round, will go first, and that is Nekomaru. And he's up first. And he answers correctly. Pennyworth answers incorrectly. I answer incorrectly as well. I gotta do better than that, but Celesti's picking up the slack. Jack also answers correctly. Junko, you didn't bank and you answered it. Junko's costing us all the cash roll. We only have like 4,500 banked. We gotta do better than that. Kokichi, you gotta answer correctly. Nekomaru's still looking like he might be the strongest link in this game, gets an answer correct. Pennyworth as well, please tell me I banked. I did, so I am brilliant because I knew I was gonna miss that one. But I sure banked though. Celeste was up next, answered correctly, so did Jack. Junko banks and answers incorrectly, that was wise of her. We're doing okay. Kokichi answers correctly. Nekomaru, the strongest link, answers correctly. Pennyworth, will you bank? No, you answered correctly. This is looking good, unless I don't bank. No, I didn't bank, but I still answered it correctly. We are doing very good, Celeste. Please. She banks. But she also answered correctly, but there was no time left anyway. That brings us up way better. 15, that was the teamwork that we like to see with the squad. That's the teamwork that lets us be a collaborative unit to take out Sayaka at a moment's notice. But of course that was that. Now we are pit against each other. 1 will be eliminated. Who do you think was the strongest link in round 2? Go ahead and tell me in the comments. I believe it was probably still Nekomaru, to be completely honest. The weakest link, in terms of questions? Probably me. But I also banked very well, and so did Celeste, so the weakest link might be Pennyworth. Don't know. Maybe Kokichi, actually. I don't know. I'm gonna lock in Kokichi for the weakest link, and give me Nekomaru again for the strongest link, but let's see how that actually played out. Yes, Nekomaru was still the strongest link. Junko for the second round, the weakest link. And that is what happened. Nekomaru's strongest link 2 times in a row. Junko the weakest link. But will the votes pick up on the facts? Celeste, how dare you vote for me? You and I think we're the only people who banked money that round. Jack voted for Junko, and Junko voted for Jack. You guys have a little hostility between you two. We need to work that out. Kokichi votes for Jack. Tag team champion Jack, okay. Nekomaru votes for me. Wait a minute. Pennyworth votes for me. I vote for Junko. Y'all did not. I don't know what kind of game they're playing. But it's the wrong game. Because first and foremost, I don't care what these words say, right? Don't you zoom. Okay, you're gonna keep zooming in. It may say that AV, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. It was not me. It was Junko. I banked. I did fantastically in earning that big 10k. Luckily, Celeste cashed it. In fact, I was the last person to answer correctly on that big 10k bank. Okay. I'll remember that. I'll remember that, everyone who voted for me. I don't remember who voted for me, but I'll go back and I'll check. We're gonna have to have a little bit of squad therapy at some point, but we're gonna continue. It is round 3. And we gotta keep going. Because we have to see who's the strongest link of the squad. There are 6 people left. It's Celeste, Jack, Junko, Kokichi, Nekomaru, and Pennyworth. I don't think I ever asked you guys, who do you think personally is the strongest link of the squad? Because we're about to find out as we proceed. Nakamaru is still the strongest link will also go first again, and he answers correctly. Pennyworth also answers correctly. Celeste, you're not looking good answering incorrectly. I'll remember that. Jack is up, answers correctly. Junko does not. Junko, I don't know if you've answered a question right. Kokichi answers correctly. Nakamaru answers incorrectly. Pennyworth answers incorrectly. Are you guys gonna make a single synth? Celeste and Jack both answer correctly. Junko, you better bank. She did. And also answers incorrectly. Kokichi answers incorrectly. Nakamaru, with just 39 seconds left, answers correctly. Pennyworth does too. Celeste, you might want to bank. She does not, and she answers incorrectly. That's not looking good for her. She is not doing very well. Jack is up next. She answers correctly. And Junko answers incorrectly. Kokichi answers correctly. Nakamaru, you might want to bank. He does bank with 0 seconds left. It's ironic that the round that they lose me is their lowest earning round. It's because I'm the bread and butter behind this team. They need to remember that. They would not be a cohesive unit without the bread and butter. And I am indeed the flour, the yeast, the butter. It is me. Oh, how dare they? And in fact, I might enjoy seeing one of them get voted off. It's round 3. Who do you think was the weakest link that round? Who do you think did the worst? I think it was Junko for the 3rd round in a row. But I don't think Nakamaru was the strongest link this round. I think it might have been Pennyworth. Go and tell me what you think. But I think we're going to proceed to C. I'm still a little bit peeved that they voted me off. 2nd. I put them together! We'll proceed. Jack was actually the strongest link this round. Junko, for the 3rd round in a row, was the weakest link, but somehow people have just not been voting her off. Well, the votes pick up on the facts. Celeste voted for Junko. Jack voted for Junko. Junko voted for Celeste. Kokichi voted for Celeste. Nakamaru voted for Kokichi. And Pennyworth voted for Junko. After 3 rounds, she couldn't do it. She was so weak in answering these questions all along, or maybe she was trying to get a little bit of despair for the group by making sure that they didn't earn the funds that they could have. But no matter what, it seems that she's not the strongest link of the squad. In fact, for this round, Junko, you are the weakest link. Goodbye! And so we proceed. There are just 5 left. One of them will be the strongest link of the squad. Who will it be? I don't know, but we're gonna find out. And we're gonna find out soon, because we're about to lose another folk. And who will it be? Jack will go first, the strongest link. 2 minutes on the clock. She answers it correctly. Kokichi answers correctly as well. Nakamaru also answers correctly. Hold up. Pennyworth answers correctly. Hold up. Celeste is up next. Answers correctly. Hold up. Wait a minute. What? Jack answers correctly. Hold up. They're at 7. I've never seen it go this far. I don't know if I've seen it go that high in the show. Kokichi answers correctly. Are they about to get the whole thing? Nakamaru, it's up to you. They did. Holy heck. What? They got the round limit. Nobody answered incorrectly. What? Did they have to vote? They do. Holy heck. There wasn't really a weakest link. They all answered right. Right? According to the statistics, Nakamaru was the strongest link. Pennyworth was technically the weakest. I think they're just voting for who they don't like this time, for real. And Celeste votes for Kokichi. Jack votes for Celeste. Kokichi votes for Pennyworth. Nakamaru votes for Kokichi. Pennyworth votes for Celeste. And such we have a tie 2-1. I'm pretty sure this is how this works in the show. The strongest link for the round breaks the tie with their vote, and Nakamaru, it looks like, will probably be voting for Kokichi. That is correct. When there is a tied vote, the strongest link casts the deciding vote. Nakamaru votes for Kokichi. And you know what that means. Kokichi, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. And thus, we continue. We have to find out who the strongest link of the squad is, and now we have the final four. It's either Celeste, Tag Team Champion Genocide Jack, the buff Nekomaru, or Pennyworth. Who could it be? I don't know. But I'm still shocked. I don't think I've ever seen anyone actually get the round limit. I think I may have seen it like one time in the actual show. I didn't expect it to happen here. Good on all of them. I'm still furious, but let's see what's gonna be. We'll proceed. That was incredible. But Nekomaru answers first. He is correct. He was the strongest link from last time, and Pennyworth goes next. He is also correct. Celeste up next. Correct again. Jack, are they gonna do it again? Correct. Nekomaru correct. Pennyworth correct. Celeste correct. It's up to Jack if she... What? This is playing out so differently than what I simulated. Last time, when I did a test simulation of this, the group earned like $56,000 total. This is insanity. Nobody got anything wrong. The total is $273,000. That's a lot for this show. We'll proceed. Jack was the strongest link. Technically, Nekomaru was the weakest link. I think they're just voting for who they don't like. And Celeste votes for Nekomaru. Jack votes for Nekomaru. Nekomaru votes for Celeste. And Pennyworth, everyone voted for Nekomaru except for himself. Which means, I hate to see it, he was the strongest link for so many rounds, but maybe they're just getting rid of someone who they consider to be the biggest threat. That is something that also happens in the game sometimes. But I hate to say it, Nekomaru, you played well, but unfortunately, you are the weakest link. Goodbye! Toodaloo to you. Love you though. We'll proceed. We are at your final three. And they are playing for a significant amount of wealth. I'm sure Celeste is like, oh really? Jack is like, I just want to use my scissors to cut some fools. And Pennyworth is like, my young master is already filthy rich, so I am technically too, so it is what it is. But, we're going on. We're proceeding. Let's see if they can do it again. Or did they get rid of the strongest link of the game? We'll see. As Jack goes first and she answers correctly, so does Pennyworth. Celeste is like, you know what, I don't trust you fools. I'm banking. Answers correctly. Jack answers correctly as well. So does Pennyworth. Celeste banks again. Which I don't know if it's wise or not, because they keep answering correctly, so does Celeste. So does Jack. So does Pennyworth. Celeste answers incorrectly. You didn't bank that time. Oh no, you're technically the weakest link right now, because everyone else is answering completely correctly, like Jack and Pennyworth. Celeste banks and answers correctly. Jack banks at the end as well with 0 seconds left. They only earned 11,000. The only person who really answered incorrectly that time is Celeste. However, I think it's pretty obvious that Celeste was the weakest link. Either of the other two could have been the strongest. Might have been, I don't know what it's calculated on, based on banking, based on time taken to answer the question, who knows. Who do you think is going to get voted out? Because occasionally in this game, they vote out the person who's clearly they avoid voting out person who's clearly the weakest link. So like, I kind of expect Pennyworth and Jack to vote each other out. Because they'll have an easier time trying to beat Celeste, who got an answer wrong this time, but we'll proceed to see what happens. According to the statistics, Pennyworth is the strongest link and Celeste is the weakest link. Well, the votes pick up on the facts. Celeste votes out Pennyworth, and Jack votes out Celeste. So it's all up to Pennyworth. Let's see what unfolds. Let's see what happens. Pennyworth votes for Celeste. They want a true battle of the brains. So I hate to say it, but Celeste, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. And so, with that, we enter the final round. It is Genocide Jack, and it is Pennyworth. There will be one final round of questions where they can earn even more money. The amount that they earn at the end of this round will be doubled, and add it to their bank. And then we have a head-to-head, which I'll turn the questions back on, because if you wanted that trivia, if you came for that trivia, I don't know why you did, I didn't even know it was a thing you could do, but I like that option a lot. We will see how this plays out. Who will be the strongest link of the squad? Will it be the original, the OG, one of the OG members, Genocide Jack? Or will it be the sleeper pick Pennyworth, who's working a lot, sweeping up, cleaning up in the background, making sure that everything is flowing as it's supposed to? I still can't believe that I was out in the second round. I'm still furious. However, we'll go ahead and we'll see how they perform on this final round of questioning. Will they be able to max that thing again? I don't know, but maybe not, because Pennyworth immediately answers incorrectly to start. Jack answers correctly, so does Pennyworth. Jack answers correctly, so does Pennyworth. Jack answers correctly. Pennyworth screws it up! Oh no! Jack answers correctly. Pennyworth is struggling. Jack answers correctly. You have to take into account the money that they bank is doubled. They've banked nothing. They're struggling. Pennyworth answers correctly. Jack banks because there's no time left. They only earned $2,500 in the bank, which is double to 5,000. And thus, we will turn on the questions. Oh, it does that there. That's nice. That's actually pretty neat. Okay. We'll proceed to the head-to-head. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is the final showdown. It is between Genocide Jack and Pennyworth. They will answer questions back-to-back, a best of 5. Whoever answers the most in this best of 5 questions wins. Who will win? I will Genocide Jack. You were the strongest link last round, so you'll go first. And her question was, according to McDonald's, how many calories does its signature Big Mac sandwich have? Who knows that? Why would you know that? If I had to take a guess, I'd be like 550. I don't know. It's a lot, probably. Maybe even more than that. Jack answers correctly. She knew it was... I was very close! Hold on. Maybe, you know what, I take it back. But you know what, Jack, I was close, so you got it. I don't feel bad about that. You deserve that one. In Pennyworth's question 1, which country's government was established in 1958 and is known as the Fifth Republic? Well, of course it's Spain. Pennyworth didn't know, but of course it was France. I didn't know either. So far the score is 1 Jack, 0 Pennyworth. Will that change when Jack has her next question? She answers it correctly. Starring Bruce Willis, the 2010 film Red features CIA agents who are extremely dangerous, as well as what? I don't know. Retired. Oh. Extremely dangerous, and then the R. Okay. You know what? That makes sense. That makes sense. I'm glad you got it correct, Jack. She is so far performing strongly. Pennyworth, his next question. Which he answers correctly. A tea cozy is commonly made of what material? I'm sure it's some sort of fabric. Cloth. I was gonna say some sort of fabric. Cloth. Good job. They're now 2-1. If Jack misses 1, Pennyworth's back in this game if he gets his right. Jack. Question 3. Often referred to as the good cholesterol, HDL stands for high density what? Everyone knows the answer to that. Even Jack, because it's lipoprotein. Yeah, I knew that. You knew that too. Question 3 for Pennyworth. Pennyworth still has to get these right. If he gets this wrong, if Jack gets her next question right, this game is over. Question 3, Pennyworth. He does get it correctly on a standard telephone keypad. What number is located directly between the asterisk and the number sign? That was the easiest question of all time. It's 0. Goodness gracious, it's 3-2. Pennyworth is still in this one, especially if Jack misses 1 question, question 4. She's not missing any questions. In the 1971 cult classic, what does an older woman say to a younger man when he says, I love you, Maud? Do you know? Jack knows, and the correct answer is, I like you, Harold. I don't think that is true. If Pennyworth gets this wrong, it's game over. Jack has answered 4 in a row. Pennyworth has already missed 1. His hope is getting this right, and Jack getting the next one wrong. He needs to get this one right to stay in the game. Otherwise, Jack is the strongest link, and the question is... Uh-oh. Often topped with caviar or smoked salmon. A blini is a small what? He doesn't know. It's a pancake. How could you not know that? That is, it's the most fitting final question of all time. If I were just to guess, I'd be like, pancake, but of course I know the rich history of the blini. How dare you miss it? I should quit. I should kick you out for that. You're lucky we're not based on pancakes. We're based on taking out Sayaka, and you did that fabulously, so you get to stay in. I am peeved that you missed. If I were in this one, I would have won this game because I would have answered every question. I would have gotten it wrong. I would have gotten every other question wrong, but I would have gotten that one correctly because I would have answered pancake for everything else. But I would have gotten that question right. Oh, but you still get to answer your questions. That's nice. Genocide Jack gets all 5 of hers right as she takes the C in the NCAA, answers correctly. It is for collegiate. And Pennyworth answers his last one correctly, so he didn't get completely wiped the floor with in the classic version of Monopoly. The 2 utility companies are Waterworks and the what? The electric company? Question mark? It is. But that's all she wrote. We now know who the strongest link, oh my gosh, in the bank that she got. The strongest link of the squad. Is the one, the only Danganronpa Hunger Games Tag Team Champion. Genocide Jack is the strongest member of the squad. In fact, right now, who even knew? Who would have thought? She is the smartest member of the squad. Pennyworth, you're leaving with nothing. As we proceed, we can see her in all of her glory. The strongest link, Genocide Jack. And we'll proceed and we'll look at these statistics. It's beautiful. I hate to see that. You know, when I did the simulation, I came in 3rd, and I was like, I was the strongest link that round, and they voted me out. But you know, I probably deserved to get voted out that round. We don't like to talk about that, though. I wasn't the weakest link, but you know, we don't like to. I did not deserve to get voted. You know what? I'll remember this, you fools. We may bond on taking out Sayaka, but y'all voted me out in the 2nd round. I won't forget that. I will never forget. Oh. Maki in 8th, I was right in front of her. Junko in 6th. Maki, you were the weakest link of the squad. How does it feel? You one of the most dangerous members of the squad. Weakest link though. Who would have thought? It's not all about being dangerous, being widely versed in weapons. No. It's not about that. In fact, let's calm that down and let's go back to the clown song. It's not about being strongly versed in weapons. It's about knowing your opponent. And our opponent, Sayaka, you gotta do better, Maki. You gotta do better. Genocide Jack overcame her usual killing styles, killing cute boys, and instead took out Sayaka. She adjusted so that she could be a part of this group. Maki, you gotta adjust too. I know you've been adjusting because Kokichi's here and you guys are on bad terms, but you guys are working together because you're squad members. Ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the other statistics. Genocide Jack, Nekomaru, and Pennyworth all were the strongest link a number of times. Genocide Jack, strongest link 3 times. Nekomaru, strongest link 3 times. Pennyworth, only the strongest link once. Where's times correct? Yet neither of you were ever correct a single time. I was correct at least once. One time. I did pretty poorly. But Junko lasted so long, 3 whole rounds without getting a single thing correct, and they didn't vote her out yet until the third round. Until the third one, I got one right, and Junko did it, and they voted me out. But look at this. This is super impressive. 95% of the time, Genocide Jack was right. Nekomaru as well. 92%. That's nuts. I was right like 1 out of 5 times. That's not bad. I'll take it. Kokichi read 70% of the time, Pennyworth 71%, Celeste 73%. Times incorrect. Genocide Jack was only wrong 1 time. Once. 1 time. That's nuts. That's legitimately crazy. Maki was wrong twice. but was never right. Never right. Keep that in mind. Junko was wrong 8 times because she lasted so long and was never right. Every question they gave her, she was like, well, I'm just gonna spread despair. I know the answer, but, what number is after 5? 19? That's technically not wrong. It is after 5. We'll proceed. Round summary. I just want to pay attention to round 4 and 5. Look at that. First of all, I think I may have only seen one time in the actual show. It probably has happened more. I didn't watch the actual show religiously, but I've watched it from time to time. Never seen a team bank 125,000, but they did it 2 rounds in a row. Shocking. Very shocking. And Genocide Jack won it all. 289,000. She deserved it. Next time. First of all, we know who the strongest link of the squad. It's Genocide Jack. It should have been me. It should have been me. But it is indeed Genocide Jack. And I can't fault her. She's the only one holding the title right now. Right? The only one of us holding the title, and she's bringing the title with her to the next squad celebration simulator, which will probably be I guess you could say Total Danganronpa Island, but Total Drama Island. And then that'll probably be Tuesday or Wednesday, probably Tuesday, maybe Tuesday. We'll hope Tuesday. But until then, stay classy. I hope you enjoyed the Weakest Link. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I didn't know you could show the questions, so that's really interesting. Until Tuesday when we continue the squad celebration. Tuli, Flight Crew. Thanks for watching.